to the podcast Revenue Checkpoint, where we discuss how to rescue revenue. Today, we have with us our esteemed guest, Subhash Jasti.
This is Subhash Jasti. I'm a technology executive. I sit in the intersection of IT, business, and finance, and I build systems for CFOs and CIOs. Over 18 years, I have built global enterprise systems that scaled from code to cash, procure to pay, source to pay, record to report, and FP&A systems. And my key accomplishments are like have done 7 M&A system integrations that includes billing and procurement that added incremental revenue of almost 1 billion to multiple companies. And I have done 10 full life cycle implementation that includes billing. And one of the recent accomplishment when I'm at Gusto, I can say where Ravin is also my partner in helping me to scale 400,000 invoices in a day with 99.9 accuracy from 82% accuracy that is driving a multi-million dollar savings. And at the core, I actually build systems and position technology as a strategic lever, not just an overhead with a business impact.
Subhash also comes from the proper background for finance, equivalent to CPA that he has done. So, welcome. I'm looking forward to our discussion here. To start with, my first question is: you have been in the role of finance technology and finance transformation for decades. Looking ahead, how do you see AI and intelligent monitoring reshaping the finance function?
Yeah, thanks, Ravin. I know I have been expecting this question. I know thanks for putting me on the spot on this because this is the core crux of where the entire global economy is shifting. And this is how I see, right? It may take like 12 to 24 months on how the finance technology will shape, but this is how I see. We have been in decades having a very reactive way of actually resonating on how the month end close should happen. And the controls are coming in the last instead of always, it should be very predictive and event. And if there is one thing that I want to say, what AI can build here is continuous monitoring, predictive analysis, instead of waiting until the day 5 of close and say, where is my $1 million gone in revenue or a revenue leakage, which we call. It is always to have like a monetary control every hour that shifts and triggers an events for the finance organization that the contract is not right, the close will be a mess by 2 days, or they should be creating a unified data models across not only quote to cash, even on procure to pay and record to pay, and AI sits on top of all these ERP systems, whatever that microsystems are, and we are moving away from instead of guessing what's going to happen, we are going to have a predictive analysis with a real-time dashboards. So the way I put it is like instead of revenue recognition, I call it now it will move to revenue protection with AI. And AI actively protects it before you know, and it gives peace of mind to CFOs. And some of the examples that I have seen in my past, which even I learned at the time, are like missed billing triggers, discounting is given without approvals, there are contracts that are happening, and we are serving a customer who is not paying us. The usage is not calculated. I can talk like with these issues, but I think AI can help a lot on this aspect, especially on the revenue leakage.
We absolutely see it the same way. It's so much of errors that are happening that can be predicted, not only shown that it is happening on real time, but in some cases even predicted. Thank you. So that leads into the next question. Many organizations equate finance transformation with automation or technology upgrades. From your experience, where do these initiatives still fall short in preventing revenue leakage?
There is more than one reason, Ravin, to be honest, very brutally honest, because a lot of organizations work in silos, right? Finance has their own priorities. RevOps have their own priorities. Pricing and packaging team has their own priorities. Sales team has their priorities. And the entire shift is coming to finance during the month end to reconcile like 30 million in revenue or 3 million in revenue, whatever be the size of the company. But people have to understand that this leakage is coming from upstream applications, depending on their tech stack, whether it's a CRM applications or a CPQ applications or a Salesforce application, or it's a internal billing engine that engineering team owns, or a ERP fragmented system that is not connected canonically with the method that it should connect. And what I have seen is we always put static controls in our dynamic environment, which is, I think, is preventing a lot of automation. But people are crazy about this word automation. But if you are automating a garbage, that's not called automation. You are automating a broken process and again breaking the process again. So I would highly recommend, like, anybody coming into this Q2C or quote to cash or order to cash area, like, where is the weak linkage? What is the contract saying? How is your product actually configured in your billing engine? Where does the customer sit? Where does the source of truth sit? How is actually it is integrated to your downstream applications, maybe like Zora, Stripe, whatever applications that are XYZ applications, ChargeB, and how are you deriving the data, and how can you ensure that what your contract is saying is what your revenue recognized? There is like a 14-step process in between. I think the owner of each of this process is different. They they are only concerned about contracts. One team is concerned about just pricing and packaging. One team is concerned about revenue recognition, and they are not under one leadership, and they have different moving and competing priorities. And that's why all this actually automation, sometimes it is good to say I have automated, but what exactly you have automated also makes sense, because you need to start from day zero and then reprocess and re-engineer and then do where you can catch these leakage rates.
Very informative. And actually, you are diving right into the next question that I have also have is the modern finance tax looks sophisticated on paper. Where do you most commonly get gaps that still silently create revenue leakage across the quote to cash?
Yeah, that's correct.
You have given some examples already.
Yeah, as I said, like, just going back to my previous answer, it starts from opportunity to code, and then from code to contract, how those terms are translated, because there might be non-standard discounts. There might be terms that doesn't flow to the downstream applications. In meanwhile, it will be underbilling the client. And how is the contract setup? And is the contract setup evenly flowing to the billing setup? Is usage properly captured? Is consumption properly captured? How are you billing that? And then it translates into a proper invoice. Is every line item in the invoice, taxation, proration of taxes, failed runs, usage, consumption, last minute add-ons, a la carte pricing, silent write-offs, all this will come. And the amendments and the mid-cycle amendments, are you capturing somewhere? The entire reason is, again, it's just an extension of my previous answer. Like, it is like always a fight between RevRec versus billing, but I would say it should be a consolidated and a cohesive part of the entire team who is working. That RevRec is not different, billing is not different. One is driving the other. It's like you can't have a 240 horsepower car and ask for 1,000 horsepower. Why I'm not having? Because that's in the engine you're not seeing. That is what driving the speed of the car.
Absolutely. And it's almost like the the whole usage-based economy, subscription-based economy has changed the financial model that there is huge amount of customer interaction and communication and taking care of the customer, and as a result opportunity getting generated and fulfilling those opportunities and getting people to do upsell downsell, make the solution more coherent for the exact customer, and that leads into so many missed opportunities, or in some cases manual steps that create huge havoc. CFOs invest heavily in ERP, BI, and billing platforms, expecting control. In other words, CFOs are investing in the ERP, BI, billing platforms, expecting that to actually generate controls. Why do these systems still struggle to service revenue anomalies in real time?
It's a very unfortunate situation that the BA team has to do it, because they are reporting after the fact. They are not detecting the anomalies or the leakage issues as they happen, because the systems are not connected in a way. It is like the billing system, the CRM system, they have a separate database. And then once the revenue is coming to NetSuite, Oracle, SAP, or even Microsoft Dynamics, they have to run parallelly a lot of tables with a canonical model like, oh my God, I have like 400,000 customers now. This is what NetSuite is showing, but the billing system is showing something different. There are 10 NOIs that are not able to do. And I have a practical experience in this. It is nobody's fault. Unfortunately, it's a fragmented truth that these systems are not integrated at all. And as I use this word often, like there is no canonical anomaly definition. What is expected? What is actual logic? Where is it? Where does it lie? Who owns that logic? Nobody. PI team doesn't own, IT doesn't own, finance doesn't own. Everybody has their intuitive mind to see, okay, whether my $300 million is collected or not for this month, or $30 million is collected or not. This is especially when usage and consumption based billing comes into picture, this becomes havoc. Like, because people are adding the last second billing cycles that may not reflect, or it may take 24 hours to refresh the database to reflect that in the reports. But the executives want that much early. They want on day zero. For everything, they might say, we want it yesterday, which is not going to happen because the customer uploaded the usage just now, which might take, because of the infrastructure, we have 12 to 24 hours to refresh. So it's just a fragmented truth. That's why they don't work together. Even though CFO owns BI or analytics, data, whatever it is, even though you have the infrastructure, but how the systems are focused, how much time you are doing the refresh rates, and how fast you are getting the real-time data. Because I have seen a lot of clients that I work, they don't do anything until end of the last day of that. They may not do daily billing. They may not do prorated billing. Just the last day of the month, dump all the customer data and try to done a recon. That obviously is a great job from BI team has to do to get to that, but always there will be variances that we need to be answerable to auditors.
So with what, Subhash, um, that ownership of the end-to-end journey is many times missing. Um, and there's seldom organization that you discover have something in place. And that leads into my next question. Large enterprises, finance owns the numbers, but IT owns the systems. That governance model have you seen work best to jointly own revenue integrity? Give your some insights into that.
It's a very a good question and a challenging question according to me because see, usually what I have seen in my career, as I'm part of technology, right? I own the data pipelines, integration, BI, any LLM workflows, or like any reconciliation, automation, RPS, and all. And what does finance own is like a policy. What is a policy? It's policy. AS 605 or AS 606 are the revenue rules, and materiality and compliance is finance responsibility. But this way, what happens is the way the revenue is leaking because of the billing accuracy issues, unbilled revenue issues, invoice to cash reconciliation issues. I think it should be a joint responsibility. It's very easy to say like we are following the policy, but the systems are not. I think they have to lockstep each other to be a win-win situation, and it should be a joint responsibility. Like sometimes the RevOps is completely out of the place when we are reconciling, which is the starting point of the entire thing, right? Like that's sometimes like so it should be. I would say like if I have to be creative, the head of revenue, which is part of the business, not finance, then the finance controller or CFO plus the CIO or CTO should be a joint steerco to say that we are responsible for this end-to-end cycle. This is what I think it should go.
These days, there is a huge change velocity in business. New pricing models, frequent product launches, usage-based billing. How does the speed of business change itself become a leakage risk for finance?
Yeah, it goes back a little bit on what we have discussed, but in my career, I launched almost like 125 products, on billing, whether it's small, big, or medium. And what I have seen is like they used to take 3 months in creating a product because they used to do everything internally by engineering or DevOps team or developers, which used to take time. And then we bought a billing system that increases the velocity. Did it completely change the picture? Yeah, it changed the picture, but it created new other nuances like the speed creates leakages because we are outpacing controls. And some of the examples that I have faced are like the pricing drift. The CRO wants to add the pricing model immediately so that they can recognize 5 million this extra or whatever that amount is. And the new product SKUs don't align across the contract CRM billing again. It is like ad hoc and then ended it. Again, you use a non-standard terms to change and translate into system logic. And the usage risk, right? There are inaccurate and delayed usage, which is wrong revenue. And integration lag, the timing is mismatching because you just add a product, but there might be something else we need to do behind the screens for the downstream applications to get all the way that $10 or $100 for that SKU to all the way to NetSuite or the ERP system, which is the tool. And this timing mismatch is always very delicate. And we just keep on reconciling this because of these things. And I like to have a speed, but having a controlled speed. Like y'all are supposed to drive below 70 miles per hour, right? It's a controlled speed. We all want to get to the destination on time. I think that's where I think this integration of system is routing. And that's why I say like speed creates a leakage when it outpaces control. Put that controls in like how many exceptions that you are signing, how many discounts you are giving without a proper steel co approval. As I said, the joint responsibility should be a joint steel co where they should be aware that this is happening because you can't skew too much for every month. You can skew 10%, but not like 30-40%. Then again, you are rewriting your own misfortune at some point.
No, absolutely. The business today is conducted in different organizations, and in the complete revenue life cycle, especially in today's age enterprises, all of that needs to synchronize. So somehow there needs to be that governance, that stewardship of everything going right, and that can only happen when you have visibility or end to end also, and
That's correct.
and self correction happens as a result of that visibility.
That's correct.
Now this is, oh God, you're taking the words out of my mouth also.
But all are great questions. This is what the real world should know before they are jumping into any transformation project. That this is a lot of work. It is not just the systems work or some product will come and take a rabbit out of the hat. It is just a joint steer co thing. Like you guys have to tell the re-engineering process upstream and downstream. Then we are getting into this. Get an alignment with all the stakeholders early, not just CFO and CIO. That is not enough to be successful.
Yeah. So I'll change a little bit the direction. Um, Still relevant, but which finance KPI or KPIs do you believe are most underestimated when it comes to identifying revenue leakage?
Uh, there are several, but if I have to quote few things that are very like people don't pay much attention is uh, all the way from quote to cash integrity. Like, what is that? How do you know the quote has become an order has become a commitment has become a billing has become an invoice has become a rev rec item, and how are you doing that? And it is based on like the percentage of deals are billed correctly without manual fixes. I mean, like you don't fix it manually because you need to catch these in between automatically. Then only you can have a sustainable billing model. And also unbilled revenue aging. There are customers I have seen, some people keep on billing the clients who has actually churned. They are the reverse, like you are serving them without they paying. They already moved away, you understand? And that is one. Unbilled revenue aging is something that I will really look into. And discounting, how who is giving discount, why are they giving discount? Because volume discount is a huge thing. I have seen a lot of anomalies. And usage to bill ratio or consumption to bill ratio, I think most of the problems it will not be built properly. I am 100% sure. Like usage to bill ratio because of the timing, because of the policy, because you are waiting too long to for that to happen.
Just
And
imagine AI age with the tokens and everything. This is going to explode even more.
yeah.
The usage to bill.
And since I am part of finance technology or business technology, right? One thing a lot of people don't realize is the manual journal entries that they pass as adjustment entries during the month end. which is again we are accountable to the auditors at one point when you are doing a statutory or internal audit. That is something I really see as a KPI, that how many manual entries that you fixed that is coming from all the way from Salesforce or CPQ engines, or that is touching the revenue that impacts your revenue. These are few things that came from my, like what I have seen in my career.
Yeah, the manual entries actually, let me ask you this. Even with advanced systems, manual overrides and exception processing persists, as you
Yes.
pointed out, right? How should finance leaders balance flexibility for business with control and discipline?
See, they need to basically have controls in place well in advance before month end close. Please do not wait the controls until last day of the month that you have to close, whether it's day plus 3 or day plus 2, depending on your close cycle. The control mechanism should be part of your architecture. Like everywhere you need to have control. You can't just implement system and then say we will do controls later. It will never work that way, because this happens because either somebody is accountable to deliver the project on time, either somebody wants to close the books faster. But the problem is you're closing the books faster, but you're missing something for the long term. That may be a short term thing. So I think they should not balance in speed. I would say the controls is part of speed. Decrease the speed if you want to.
Yeah, yeah, it has been very interesting discussion. One final thing I'll ask is, with so much of potential leakage and real leakage that is happening, that you have experienced too, looking ahead, do you foresee that organizations will have revenue assurance as focused team, or a function guarding the revenue from any anomalies and leakage patterns across the revenue lifecycle?
Yeah, I think with AI coming into picture and a lot of automation tools coming into picture, the way that we want to handle revenue should change for the sake of CFO's peace of mind. And the few ways that which we already discussed is, as a revenue assurance as a focus means you are showing every event where the revenue leakage can happen or already happened. It's a periodic control to continuous monitoring. Instead of finance only ownership, as we discussed, this is a joint steerco ownership. It is not one team's ownership. And create a good KPI dashboard signaling all the things that you do on a daily basis or a monthly basis or a weekly basis. Just keep away these reactive fixes, go with the prevention layer, use AI on top of CPQ, billing, ERP, use the canonical model of data architecture. Get to a place where you think that whatever you are doing today is not sustainable with the AI coming into picture so much. And I am very confident the right leaders or right architects in the board, they can do that. A right product in the board, it is possible to get there. It takes a little bit of planning and effort, but I am very confident that we can get there.
Subhash, very insightful. I'm sure our viewers will find it very, very valuable. Thank you for joining today. Really appreciate the insights.
Thank you so much, Ravin. It's my pleasure sharing some insights. Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity.